What is up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another season finale episode of TV Talk.
I'm trying to do jazz hands.
Talking about Loki, the season finale there, and kind of what it means going forward, and looking back at how the whole season stacked up. 6 episodes, so this is total spoilers for episode 6. You've been warned. Tyler and I are here in the studio. Luke's rocking it at home. We'll see you.
I live a little further.
Yeah,
from Brett's house
for sure. But
I mean studio.
Studio. Yes.
That we definitely built.
Anyways, what are your guys' initial thoughts on the season finale of Loki?
I'll let Luke go because Luke has Luke used the word rad.
Ooh.
Yeah, I said rad. I think they knocked it out of the park. First of all, we got Kang. It wasn't the Kang necessarily we were expecting, but a variant of a Kang, or Kang's variant of him, whichever way you want to put it. Which is the first time in all these shows that what people have been expecting has kind of happened. Which it felt really good. I thought Jonathan Majors is that version of Kang. I thought he was fantastic. And then all the dialogue in between, He Who Remains, Sylvie and Loki was just so good. And I was just enthralled the entire time. I loved it. Great finish.
I too loved it. For all of the same reasons. But I think there was 2 things that kept coming to my mind. One, how did Jonathan Majors audition for this? Like, what did it look like? Because they clearly casted him to play like 6 different characters with the same name. So I'm very curious to see how that would go. I hope there's like a behind the scenes of him talking about that at some point. And then I was super intrigued by the very end of the episode when Loki like runs back into the TVA and they're like, "Who are you, dude?" And I was like,
that hurt me a little bit.
I was like, "Oh no, we are in a very different reality now, and everything's broken." And I just can't wait to see what this means for the MCU moving forward. I think that was kind of the nice thing, right? Is like every show so far has started and ended, and really like you don't need it. I would say like Captain America, like you could have made Sam Captain America off screen. You didn't really need that. Like WandaVision, we didn't need to see her go through that. Like this, like now, like with the multiverse and the future multiversal war pending, like this was needed. Like the story really feels valued.
Yeah, it really does push the universe, the MCU forward in a way that the other 2 shows haven't.
Right. It actually accomplishes something.
And not that, I mean, I would disagree a little bit in the fact that they maybe aren't necessary. You're right to a certain extent. You can do both of those other shows off screen and make mentions to them. I think they do things, each of them, for the character, and I think the Loki show does that too for Loki. It does something for the character and gives us something beyond, hey, here's where the universe is going, but here's where this character is at and what they're dealing with, which is why I loved this episode. I like the fact that there's one fight and it lasts a minute and a half, and it's a little sword fight, and that's it. And the rest is just dialogue, and it's really well written dialogue. All of the actors and actresses are, I think, hitting their stride when it comes to how they're representing their characters. I echo Jonathan Majors' fantastic performance.
So good.
There was an article that was out on the Hollywood Reporter, I think. They interviewed the director of the Loki show, and they asked her about that process. And so she and Peyton Reed were hiring for Kang, cool. Together.
That's kind of cool.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, very, very neat.
Did he have to do like 6 different reads?
They didn't go into too much detail. Gotta save some of that for.
Yeah. I'm super curious to
Now
see.
do Kang like he's at the end of his rope. Now do it like he's a bloodthirsty animal. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see like which versions of Jonathan Majors we get across the timeline.
Yeah.
I guess. Man, he just popped off the screen. Like he commanded every scene, or I guess the scene he was in the whole way.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my biggest question coming out of this, in terms of like kind of what you mentioned with Loki being in a different reality, is that how far are they going to push that?
Yeah.
Because our minds can only handle so much and follow so many things. So like I'm wondering in Quantumania, Ant-Man 3, are they doing a thing where it's like we're going to like do something that narrows the number of timelines down to something that's manageable? I don't know if that's a thing. Also, I just was rewatching the Spider-Man movies, and you have that idea of the multiverse there in that, and we have identifiers that are obviously from the comics. Are we are we going to continue with that, because that was kind of a whole farce in that movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. It opens up a really cool part of the MCU that I haven't felt in a while, which is I don't know where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess my big thing is I'm nervous about this because when we get to the end of this little Kang bit with the multiverse, what is going to be real or matter at the end? So I'm hoping by the time we get to the end of it, there won't be a movie in there that I'm just like, oh, that never actually happened, or that actually didn't matter. That was just on a different timeline, but it was cool, I guess.
That's the risk.
I know I guess they had a meeting at Marvel about here's what we're doing with the multiverse. I think I'm really just psyching myself out, overcomplicating it. There's going to be probably 3 or 4 timelines that matter at first, and then it's going to go down to 2 or 1 by the end.
I mean, ultimately, the story will be putting the timeline back together, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be pick and pull across all these stories, like what's canon to the MCU moving forward.
Yeah, like this is our storyline, but there could be other stuff out here.
Yeah.
But we're just focusing on this one.
I'm just thinking of like Marvel doing like Elseworlds movies, kind of. Like, I wonder if that becomes a thing. You know,
Spider-Man 4, Sam Raimi.
Right, like that, or like I think of like what is the Joker movie to the overall DC thing. Like, what if Marvel starts doing things like that now? What, like, maybe this is how Deadpool fits.
Or Blade too.
Blade, right? Like these characters that, like, they could go to the MCU and be a part of the larger story, but like, do they really fit? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe this is how they fit them in.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
At least a show, like at least with these,
the Netflix
part of it.
universe.
Yeah.
No, this was cool. I think you're right though, Brett, in saying that there's probably going to be something to reduce. They can't move forward with the 27 branching lines in that current timeline. There's just no way.
Yeah. Yeah, and right now I guess we have 2 movies that are potentially dealing with it in direct ways, which is obviously Ant-Man, knowing that Kang is the villain in that, and then also Doctor Strange.
And Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but so that's the interesting thing, because I don't think Spider-Man's.
I think Spider-Man's going to be.
I think he's affected by
crossing
it,
over.
But he's not.
The streams are crossing.
His story, I don't think, will necessarily be dealing with it, like
with the event.
With the event itself, he's thrown into this situation, but it's not necessarily.
I'm trying to
the
fix
job
the
in his movie to fix timelines. Where I feel like in those 2, the other 2 that I mentioned, it's very much oh, this is a big problem and we gotta fix it, right? Like, it's our job. Ultimately, probably both of those movies, they learn something, they don't fix it, and that's where we end up with another Avengers movie down the line. Big team up to fix things.
Avengers 4 Punch King. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am completely at a loss as to how this whole thing moves forward.
Well, and how does this, we're talking about how this is affecting the movies, but we also got confirmation of a season 2. How does that
Yeah.
fit in? Is this now a Loki story as well, in that like Loki is going to be really, really involved, and does that correspond then with what we're getting in the movies and the show? Is it even more of a crossover type of thing? I don't know.
My prediction for that would be, next year we get Ant-Man 3,
Mm-hmm.
Quantumania,
Isn't that
and
2023? That's February 2023.
We get Doctor Strange first in 2022.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, Ant-Man's way
And then
out.
we
Oh.
get Ant-Man in 2023.
Okay.
Release dates are still weird.
We get okay.
I'm still not.
Then
used
we'll
to the
get
new
Loki
schedule.
season 2 probably before Ant-Man, because it won't take him nearly as long to make.
No.
And I think he's gonna figure out a way to disband the TVA. I'm pretty sure, because I think he's gonna be in Ant-Man
Oh,
at least for a bit. That was originally gonna be my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Was Ant-Man happens and Loki's like, hey, how did you get into the TVA? And they're gonna be like, oh, we're in the quantum realm. What are you talking about? He's gonna be like, oh.
That brings up another interesting thing. We really didn't get a conclusion to the TVA Owen Wilson branch of this storyline. Like, even at the end when they come back and he's like, "Oh, we're back at the TVA. We're not at the same TVA."
right.
And we don't know we still don't know the
Where
answer
are
of
Mobius?
is the TVA in the quantum realm? What's happening with Mobius, and Renslayer.
Renslayer.
So lots of good questions. I think that I'm very confident will be addressed in season 2 and not necessarily a movie. But was that still felt okay to me? That felt okay. It felt okay that we didn't get all
Yeah.
of those answers at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I mean,
because we addressed so many other things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know that they could have, without making that an hour and a half long episode, and
If
they have to have
if
some
something would have
threads.
been resolved there, it would have felt unearned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There were still too many questions.
and it would have made a season
Um,
2 feel like a forced thing, whereas now a season 2 feels like, oh no, we kind of need this, which is a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yep.
It does. Any wild predictions for the future of Loki? Now that we're talking about a season 2.
I guess mine is that Loki's going to be in Ant-Man.
There you go. Not directly season 2 related, but I like it. Even further down the line, committed
Yeah,
to
that's
the
right.
Ant-Man either
Just need
cameo
to
or
remember it because it's a while away.
I guess my theory, you can even call it that, would just be that Loki will kind of be the orchestrator of all these timeline events. Like, he'll be the one who's kind of putting them into action moving forward. So I don't necessarily think he'll be a villain kind of moving forward, but I kind of think of him now as like the Watcher. Like, now he's just kind of there, like making sure the events that need to happen. That makes sense? Like, because now he's seen the timeline, he kind of knows how it all works. He's got to be the one to tell the Avengers moving forward, like, how to fix it. He's gonna have to be the one kind of leading the charge on getting the timeline back in order, because he knows, and he's at a TVA that doesn't.
Yeah, that will be.
So he's kinda gonna be
hope we
pulling
don't
strings.
end up with a season 2 of Loki starting off doing the whole romance trope that you get in sequels, where it's like, hey, we got together at the end of the last movie, but over the course of between this movie and that last movie, there was some drama, and we split up, and we have to be romantic again. I want him you know,
Well, I mean, they could do the Witcher thing where like one episode they're in love, and then the next episode they hate each other, and then like 3 episodes later it's like they're just meeting.
I
Like we
just
could do
want
that.
him and Owen Wilson to be able to pick right back up where they left off.
I just want a jet
they were in a
ski
good
for Owen
place.
Wilson.
Oh yeah, no jet ski for Owen
Mhm.
Wilson.
That was the biggest letdown for me.
Not yet.
It was like I was really nervous about getting hyped for Kang,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't nervous about the jet ski bit. And then the Kang thing happened, the jet ski thing didn't. So I was like, well, this is kind of backwards, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll live with it.
I think. What do you guys think it happened to Sylvie?
I was just gonna ask the same question.
I feel like there's multiple timelines, so there's infinite answers, obviously. But
All of us
I
can.
feel
be
like
right.
it's got to be two things: either Kang showed up, the Conqueror version, and just smited her, or recruited her. Because she knows stuff too. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Man, from a story perspective, it's really hard to think about because where she's at the end, having slain the villain, but like once again, Marvel's doing the thing with where it's a villain who's a villain but has like doing the wrong thing for the right reason, or like it could be even debated if he's doing the wrong thing. I think.
Yeah.
Like I really like that about Jonathan Majors' character in this final episode is that
He
like
who remains.
he who remains. It makes sense that he's mad because he's been sitting by himself
forever.
And also like I can totally see justification and understand justification for why he's doing what he's doing. That's something I've always enjoyed with some of Marvel's better villains. They have a lot of weak villains who don't do that, but the ones that they do that with, I think they work well.
You do.
I knew you were going to say that.
I was talking to my friend Brendan about this a little bit, and we were kind of talking about Sylvie and
Yes.
like her character just as a whole, and like she is I'm going to destroy and destroy and destroy until I can control something.
Mm-hmm.
And now that like her character is kind of like she's left in a position where she can control, and I think now she will be the villain for season 2. Like the primary villain, and I don't really know how it works, but now she has like what Kang was talking about. He had all those papers. He's read it all. He's seen it all. So now Loki has to fight another character who's going to have seen everything that is going to happen. I don't know how it fits, but I feel like she becomes the villain moving forward. Maybe he defeats her with love. I don't know. But like I don't know. I think that keeps Loki small enough as a show to have her be the villain.
Yeah, I almost wonder if she becomes a little bit like what Loki was for MCU Phase 1, 2, which
like
is
the vehicle.
she kind of becomes the like if Kang, like what Luke says. I like what Luke says. Kang the Conqueror shows up, is like, you can't beat me. I'm Kang the freaking Conqueror. She tries and fails, and rather than like destroying her, she gets like to be in his posse of that guy, kind of becomes maybe a lieutenant type of thing, and then the whole arc then is that she can do the same arc that Loki has in earlier MCU season or phases, which is she becomes redemptive over that course, and then in a moment that echoes maybe it echoes what happened in the season finale. Instead of pushing him out the door, she ends up making the right decision, or the non-betrayal decision. I don't know.
It'd be
I
interesting to
guess
follow that time loop and end up back where you are.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
I guess the other thing that could happen is, I mean, she had the temp pad.
Mm-hmm.
Could have just killed He Who Remains, and then all the timelines start branching off. She could just be going back to hers that she was taken from. Maybe see what's happening there. And I feel like she could go there, show up, and be extremely disappointed with
Mm,
A, who she is, or B, what her timeline ended up becoming
mm.
when she was there. I think that could be another possibility too. And then Loki's just gotta go chase her down, and be like, no, don't do that.
No.
Don't hurt those people.
I definitely think there is in season 2 probably some Loki chasing Sylvie, that unresolved emotion, relationship there. He laid it all out, and in classic Loki form, she took advantage of it, which is so very Loki, and why I'm okay with it. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it worked great for this show.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So.
I would agree. Did you? I know this is kind of an after the show news tidbit, but did you see that the director is going to change for season 2? It'll be
I
a different
did.
showrunner.
I did.
I've seen like some like flurry of panic on the internet. I don't
Jeez.
panic.
Oh
It'll be
no,
fine.
it'll be fine.
Like,
They've got a huge roster, and if
and
nothing
Feige's
else,
involved. So
if nothing else, they could always go the Mandalorian route, which
Right.
is, hey, here's for 6 episodes, here's 3 different directors, and each one gets 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worked.
Which is normal TV show,
It
kind
really
of.
I was gonna
is.
say, that's
it's
normal.
very traditional, and so I'd be fine with that as well.
Yeah.
But if they want to find
Yep.
a new director who wants to do all 6, I'm all for that as well.
Yeah, I just
Mhm.
wanted to make sure we stated it. Like, I don't think it's anything to worry about.
No.
It's
No,
fine.
it's
It'll
not.
be perfectly fine.
Yep.
The story is going to be intact. Just a different person
Mhm.
telling people where to stand in this regard.
and they'll bring a different, hopefully they'll bring a slightly different visual flair to
Yep.
it. And
A little
I mean, that's
different
what
of a
that's
tone.
what I always like about the Mandalorian show is that every episode it's a little bit of a surprise. Like, what am I gonna get to see? Like,
Yeah.
I know the story beats. That's all planned out. It all flows well together. But am I gonna get to see more of a Western style or a very Eastern Kurosawa style? I love it. So
Yeah, it keeps it fresh.
it does. All right.
I guess my last thing would be shout out to Natalie Holt, who did the soundtrack, the score.
Yeah.
I loved the music in the
Yeah,
show.
it was
super good.
Yeah, it was
I'd
very
agree.
good. There were good. I liked this week opening on the end game.
Those
little sound
The
bites were
opening
cool.
logo was awesome.
It was a great way to start this one. Give us a little bit of hit of that end game time travel stuff that we've seen before, and kind of weave that into the narrative of where we're at today with being essentially at the end of time. Like, what a huge thing to just throw in one of their shows.
Yeah, just commonly.
Yeah, it's like, it's fine. We're in a castle carved out of a meteor that's surrounded by an infinite timeline.
Yeah, it's cool.
What?
Yeah, I just keep thinking to myself, like, how lucky am I to be alive to get to watch this stuff? Because, like, the multiverse idea, like, knowing Marvel's doing it, knowing DC's getting ready to kind of dip their toes in it as well, like, we're so lucky as, like, fans of this stuff. We
Mhm.
get to watch it. It's going to be so much fun. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to be so enjoyable to just watch how everything unfolds moving forward.
Mhm.
Truly a
Yep.
golden age of
Yes.
superhero television.
Yep.
Or comic television,
Yep.
even. You don't.
Yep.
Well, cool. Great discussion, guys. I'm glad that we all like it. Season 1, what would you guys give it the entire season on our rating scale?
Oh, fanboy worthy, easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was my favorite of the Disney
Mhm.
Plus show so far.
Yeah,
Same.
same. Yeah,
Same.
it may not be perfect, but it is fantastic.
Yep.
Really, really
Yep.
enjoyed it. Next, let's see. We don't. What are we gonna cover next on TV Talk?
We got What If coming in August.
We do got What If coming in August. We may cover some other things here and there before then, but we'll have to check the schedule for that. Until then, you can find us over on twitch.tv/whatthefanboy for our Monday nights live streams. Or if you can't catch a live stream, it's totally okay. You can watch those little segments on YouTube, or just tune in to the podcast They release typically Tuesday mornings after I've done some slight editing. So,
Boo,
It's
editing
probably
sucks.
editing Luke and I's craziness.
no, usually it's just cutting
Cutting the ends.
This last week, I cut a little bit. Some behind the curtain here. I cut a little bit of that, the all the sounds, and then I was running to the computer, and because we thought there were audio problems, and there weren't really audio problems. I cut that a bit, but other than that,
Nice.
not much editing. You get pretty much the show. You do.
Thanks for all you do, big dog.
Hey, thank you guys for showing up and
Show.
being the smart people in the room. So. Anyways, until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see ya.